The Accounting and Finance Division. What does this division do? Remember when I was talking about Division 7 and about the functions of Department 21 specifically? There was a function there of financial planning. And I told you then that financial planning is an area of its own, but that we'd talk about accounting later. Well, now the time has come to talk about the subject in due course. So, there is a financial director and there is an accountant. The financial director has his own valuable final product and the accountant has his. And the main difference between the two posts, financial director and accountant, is that the accountant works with the past and the financial director with the future. And so those are essentially two quite distinct areas, because these people think in different ways for that exact reason. The division is composed of 3 departments: 7th, 8th, and 9th. There is no sense talking too much about this sphere of action because life itself will force all the companies to pay particular attention to this area, because it has to do with accountability, with documents, the Internal Revenue Service or tax department, etc. There is an obvious necessity level to do things right in this area. So, in that case, we can explain the essence and purpose of these 3 departments in just 3 words. Department 7's main purpose is collecting the money. Department 8's is spending the money. And Department 9's main purpose is keeping track of and control over the material assets, the money, and everything that the company materially owns. Let's comment on that a bit more profoundly. So, Department 7 is collecting the money. What does that mean? That's a very important function for any company. Like in our example with the firm furniture, remember? We suppose that the company sells the furniture in its retail stores. This means that the store has to have a cash register, right? So it's that very Department 7 which has to be accountable for properly organizing all of the cash register payment procedures in furniture. It's Department 7 that makes sure the money gets to the company promptly. You know, there is an interesting saying that money should come into the company on an icy slide. And I will add to this that it should leave over a surface of sandpaper. Interesting, isn't it? I'm sure that you had such an example in your life. When you walked into a store and saw the following. You saw one cash register and a relatively long line of maybe 10 people, and at once you decided, no, I'm not waiting here, I'll go to another store, or I'll come another time, etc. So look what happens here. You, being the client of this particular store, didn't hand in your money, which means that the store didn't get the income it could have, or the profit from you, the client. And the reason why that occurred is because something wasn't fully worked out in Department 7. The function of properly collecting the money is missing. You could say that the Department 7 has the following functions: delivering the bills to clients, taking care of the initial paperwork and preparatory functions to delivering the paperwork, the necessary paperwork to the accounting department. Let's go on. Department 8. Department of Disbursements. Here I want to emphasize this. The decisions about what is spent, when and how much are not made here. The decisions about what to spend and how to spend it are made in Department 21, under the guidance of the financial director. Here, in Department 8, we have the actual execution of the decisions made about finances. So here's where bills are paid, here's staff wages are handed out, etc. Very simple. Department 9. The accountant resides in Department 9 itself. You know, Ever since the times of socialism, it was believed that the director is the person number one and person number two is the chief accountant. And it sort of continues on like this and has been this way mostly since those times. I want to tell you that the accountant, as such, is a very important post in any company, but you have to understand that the accountant has his own area of responsibility, exactly mapped out, and his own valuable final product. Very often, the accountant's importance is overestimated for the exact reason of those times gone by. Department 9 also deals with the bank, makes the paperwork ready for the Internal Revenue Service, so it has to do with financial accountability or accounting responsibility. Thus, the main purpose of the whole Division 3 is accounting for, and safekeeping all the material assets the organization has. Inventory. Here is another, word from those socialistic times, but it's still applicable up to this day. You see, if everything around belongs to the community, and everything around belongs to me as well, then this means that such things will go out of commission quicker than if it's owned by someone. In a company or an organization, what office equipment do you think breaks down first? You know what I'm talking about. It's usually the printer. An office printer that everyone uses, but no one is responsible for. If Department 9 does its job well, then that means that all the property in a company is designated to someone. And that means, in turn, that the equipment, be it a car, a machine tool, a computer, printer, what have you, will endure a lot longer. That means that the funds for these things don't have to be replenished so often, which means, in turn, that we economize and save our money and assets. That basically is all that we need to say about the functions of Division 3. The color is a dark shade of pink.